Welcome back to another edition of Marvel Rivals Get to Know Your Toon. Today we're going to be talking about Doctor Strange. Cool intro. I call him like I know him. Steven, Doctor Strange, is a Vanguard tank. He's a 3-star, meaning he's moderately easy. He's a little difficult to master, though. He's got a really cool alt skin that I already got, the God of Magic one, pretty fierce looking, in addition to his basic Sorcerer Supreme, which also is pretty fit, if we're being honest about it. He's a great tank. Here's a really cool, that's his MVP animation, and of course he's got an emote here as well. One of his classic poses when he's meditating. And he's got sprays just like everybody else. But let's get into the fun stuff. Let's talk abilities. So, Stephen Strange's basic is his daggers, and they are pretty effective at medium range. You can see here. They're a little bit longer, sort of have a longer trail to their attack, and do a decent amount of damage for a tank. Also, a signature part of his kit is his cloak of levitation, where he can sort of get up and fly, move around, and drop down after a short amount of time. Another big part of his kit is his Maelstrom of Madness. As he's doing attacks with his daggers, he is building up this dark magic charge, and you can see it in his cloak. As it builds up, it gets bigger and bigger. You see this purple pattern start to emerge and get larger and longer, and there it is. And then it does this big radial damage blast, this Maelstrom of Madness. It's not quite as powerful as, say, a Scarlet Witch ultimate, but it's not bad in a pinch to do a lot of damage around him. And of course, what would Doctor Strange be without his portal? These have so many cool uses. So when you use it, you get to open up one ring where it's going to start, your character freezes, and then you can move it all throughout the map and put it wherever you want. It has really great uses. You can drop down on a point from above, you can navigate behind a team all the way around, and your team can just completely pounce on another team from behind. Or there's some other really cool tricks you can do where I've seen people put it right at the spawn and then off the side of the map. So when teams run out of spawn, they immediately fall off the map. It's a bit sneaky. And of course, what would Doctor Strange be without his shield? This takes a massive amount of damage. It has a really, really big radius, so you can protect your teammates from a lot of incoming firepower, especially if they have Punishers and all sorts of projectile players. One thing you have to be really careful of with Strange, though, is the price of magic. It's his passive. While you're accumulating all that dark magic, when you get to a certain amount, it's too much, and you become into a state of anti-heal, which means you can't be healed. So that's troublesome. So you gotta remember, as you're doing damage and building up that, you'll see it, the sides will vignette in a little bit. You gotta release that dark energy. Yeah, like that. And his other passive that we talked a little bit about with Hulk is that he gets gamma charge too when Hulk is there. So instead of being the dark energy alone, you get a gamma damage boost as well. Just has a bigger effect. And you can see this a little bit in his cloak. Instead of being pink, it turns green, which is cool. And you can see here in the suggested combo, they're giving you some ideas about ways to play him. I mean, his shield is great. It protects a lot if your team's behind you. The levitation's great. You can block aerial attacks much more effectively being in the sky. Pretty good against a Hela ult. You know, she's up high and you gotta get up high. That cuts her off pretty quick. Lets your team focus her like anything else. And Strange's ultimate there, the Eye of Agamotto, you see he freezes basically everybody in this radius. They sort of leave their body and come back, and now they're vulnerable, extremely vulnerable to attacks when they're sort of out of body in that phase, but they'll snap back pretty quickly. So just be careful and be ready to use it when it's appropriate. He also has a couple achievements as well, stuff you can get in game, a little bit of lore too, and some emblems and sprays, just like everybody else. But let's check out some gameplay, shall we? So this is kind of nice. I do have a Penny on my team too. We are playing defense, which, as I said before, is where I like to play Strange. I think that shield does a lot to protect your team from a lot of incoming damage, and is obviously a great part of his kit. Penny's great too because she really controls an area. So if she's kind of controlling it, yeah. See, here I tried during the trick where you drop them off into the into outside, but I couldn't get it going. So one of my teammates was like, "Oh, you got to do it. You're playing Strange. You got to do it. This is the perfect map for it." But I couldn't get it to work where they would walk out of their spawn and fall off the map. So we're sort of just evaluating it first. We see we got a Star-Lord poking around in the back there. He's trying to do a lot of poke damage. I'm just, shielding away, seeing what other threats we got here. Not too much happening. I can hear footsteps. We're not being overly aggressive here on defense, which I think is a good thing. They're certainly not being overly aggressive on offense, which, with the Strange and Penny Parker, it's going to be tough. We're going to really control that area a lot. Assuming we've got somewhat decent heals behind us and somewhat good poke damage with DPS. I mean, we've got a magic on our team too, so we're really just sort of staying at home, because that magic, as soon as they come in, she'll get to town on them. Now I'm getting a little more aggressive. I'm getting bored. I'm pushing up a little bit because I don't really see any imminent threats here. So I'm not quite sure what this team is doing. You can see them floating around here, doing some different flanks, but nothing direct. They're certainly not in a position to jump on point. Got a rocket kind of poking in the back, doing some damage, but again, not a big threat. I mean, that's kind of it, really. Is it obviously depends on team comp, but with Strange, you really want to control an area. Get your heals, stop incoming damage, especially when necessary. So we got the Lokis behind us too, so it's just like we're just a tight-knit squad on point. All right, so here comes Black Panther, and he got in and is trying to get out pretty quick because we're just all kind of waiting for him at this point. I mean, the Lokis are obviously great because they can do so much healing and they can be put sort of anywhere and really control the map. Yeah, not a lot of push from this team here, so a bit boring gameplay, I guess. But that happens. That's not the worst thing. That means you're probably going to win the map. And here I am trying to protect my Lokis up front too. I'm poking out a little bit. I get punched in the face, but I back down. But we've got Lokis there. Now they got a magic, so they're kind of coming in hot. They must have a magic and a Black Panther, I guess. So they're trying to get in and get brawlery because they know we're not really leaving the point. But I don't think it's working too well for them because they just don't really have a concerted effort of a push here. I do have my ult available. So if they get down close, they're trying to hit up high. Looks like they got an Iron Man, but I'm just trying to basically protect my team with my shield. It's not really that complicated, Penny ulted, so she's going a little bit nuts. Magic's trying to get in there. We're pushing up a little bit. I'm just doing poke damage here because they're really not pushing. I don't have a total onslaught to worry about with my shield. If they do, I know I've got my ult where I can sort of separate them out and pause them for a moment. Those Lokis are all working too through my shield, which is great. Yeah, so they had a Strange at that point, and the Lokis shot through my shield. Of course, the game freezes because that's what it does. There's a lot going on in the game. Destructible worlds and all sorts of cool audio and visual effects going on. Alright. So Iron Man used his ult. I don't think it did much good. I couldn't really block it. I wasn't in position there, but there's their Strange again. He's trying to push, but he's pushing by himself and pushing into a magic, and it's not going to end well. Yeah, they're just not really coordinated. But you see all those Lokis just constantly healing me, my god, especially with my shield up. And they're shooting when they're not. And then their storm just decides to go off a little bit. There's the Iron Man again. There's the Eye of Agamotto. We do that. We take out that little threat of Iron Man, but he really wasn't a threat. That team wasn't really doing much at all, but really, zone control, that's kind of what you want to do with Strange. You know, push up, take the zone, create space. Very famous phrase amongst tanks. I don't think I died at all. I guess I really wouldn't have a reason to die in that particular game. But yeah, he's fun. I don't know. I don't think he's that hard to learn. You do have to get jiggy with that dark magic though, and the release of it, because you want to make sure you can get healed obviously at times. Yeah, so this is my highlight. Not very much. Providing a lot of shield and a lot of pass-through damage for our Lokis as our magic jumps in there too and creates some havoc. And yeah. So that is it for Doctor Strange. He's a great tank to play. Takes a little getting used to and adjustment, but he is super fun. He's pretty strong. And like when you use his portal, it can be very effective at taking a point or coming in behind a team or doing some tricks with it. So as always, I want to hear what you have to say though. So please leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Strange. If you like him, if you don't, and if you think of maybe any improvements he could have. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time on Marvel Rivals Get to Know Your Toon. Thanks.